What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park ENT. You know what it is. I am glad to be back. It is wonderful. I'm just going to be completely honest. We're just going to start this off. This is a fun episode I had with my friend David Watson. We recorded this earlier this morning. I was just going to be completely frank. It's like we hopped off the Zoom, and I realized that I never pressed record on the microphone, which is hilarious. So my audio is just via my computer, and I don't think it sounds terrible, but not quite the microphone quality. I was so mad because it's like over an hour conversation. It's really some really good stuff in there, and I just forgot to press record on my microphone. Man, what am I doing? What am I doing? Well, we ended up talking about finance stuff, like how to learn some credit card shit. We talked about higher education in general. He works for Texas A&M, so he's a higher education employee, and so we got into some of that stuff. It was a good, just like natural conversation where we talked about a bunch of different stuff, a little bit about college football and whether or not they're going to play and what if they should play and whatnot. So yeah, it was great. I was so mad at myself for not pressing record on the microphone, but thankfully, the Zoom audio still sounds good. So I am happy about that. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. Before I get into that, I'm going to do real quick, like I always do. Just if you want to keep up with any of my new music or any of that stuff, please go to www.thedavidlopez.com. Every week now, I've been doing these live performances from my studio. Actually, last week's performance was from my basement, but nonetheless, they're called Live from the Home Stew. You can find it on our YouTube channel. You can also go to passionparkent.com/live from the home stew with a dash mark between every word. I'm not going to go and do that. Live dash from dash the dash home dash stew dash. No dash at the end. I just did that. Anyways, that was stupid. Last week's episode was great because it was a live performance with Joey Bianco, who's my guitar player. He's my homie. You know, he's my guy. He's my cousin, basically. But he always performs with me. And we performed Burn Slow. So it was cool to get to do it was my first time since this whole pandemic hit and we haven't done any shows, my first time doing a song with another artist or with a band or anything. So that was cool. I'm glad to get back to that. I thought the video turned out pretty good. So I hope you guys enjoy that. You can go to my IG to check it out too. I post them all there. I will be posting another one this week. Like I said, every single week, I'm just going to do this. I have a lot of songs out. I realize I have a pretty big catalog, and it's easy, especially since I've kind of created albums. Like, albums are the way that I like to create and stuff like that. So I have my first project has 15 songs, and then, my last, or So Much More Too, has 22 songs. So nonetheless, there's a lot of songs that weren't singles and weren't really ever promoted like that. I don't always do the best job of promoting in general. So this strategy that I've been taking is kind of giving me a new, I really like it. It's like a new way for me to shine light on some of these old records, especially, I know there's value to some of these old records. So to bring them back and kind of give them some proper life and proper love to the art that I created. So it's been kind of cool. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm going to continue to do it. I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to perform a concert is. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. So this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. So I hope you enjoy those. But this conversation is what we're here for today on the David Lopez Show. So like I said, we get into a plethora of topics. I have known David for we went to grade school together. I've known him for a very long time, 20 years. So it was really cool to get to conversate with him. We talked about, different things you could possibly do during the pandemic if you're not feeling great and you just want to, you just need things to uplift you and whatnot, and mindset issues and stuff like that. It was a really fun conversation. It helped me. I feel better after it. And that's what I always say. We talked about it in general. Like, sometimes can isolate myself and not be the best at reaching out to people and saying let's do this podcast or whatnot. But then every time I do them, I always feel great after. So it's like, what am I doing? It's just the same thing with working out. I'm like feeling lazy. I don't want to work out. I work out, I feel better after, and then my brain forgets the next day that I feel better after I work out. Like, well, what's going on? What's going on here? Just keep doing the things that make me feel better. I don't get it. All right, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let you guys enjoy this long conversation with my friend, David Watson.
David Lopez is the name. It's my show. Welcome to it.
I'm wondering what is going to happen with college in general, because people are starting to wake up to the fact that why are we paying $50,000 or whatever the hell we're paying?
especially the small Christian universities that have the biggest issue because their endowments are so low.
Okay.
Not talking about the other stuff. I can get into other stuff, but if you're an alumni from Elmhurst, what's your average salary?
Right. I don't know. I'm curious.
And with college loans, are you donating back?
Exactly. Well, no, see, that's a great point because like at Concordia I can speak to that because they always send us like the alumni shit. And like, yeah, like at what year are you finally going to be ready to start donating back? You know what I mean?
Like, I mean, that's why if you're going to go now, you should go, if you can do it, just go to community college for 2 years and then go on, or go to the biggest state school you can because the network is worth it.
Okay.
Right. Even if you're taking loans, the network is worth it, and the ability to have more different types of classes. Right. At Elmhurst, within your degree plan, maybe you have like 4 choices.
Actually, I mean, I'm not sure. I liked Elmhurst when I was there. I mean, I was only there for that 1 year, but because for some reason about that, it was a small private school, but it was also like it kind of ran like a big school in a certain regard. Like there was a wide variety of classes, and also like for me, I just remember it was a wet campus, and there was like co-ed dorms, which is like that's not how shit goes in those schools.
Yeah,
but
you know what I'm saying though, right? Like I mean, at A&M, we are an older university in public grant, so we're just bigger. We're 70,000 kids, right? So it's just
this is crazy, yeah.
But like we don't even go after donors until they turn 60.
See, that's so much better because we feel like shit when you're sending me a mail at 25 and I'm not making shit. Like, yeah.
We just closed out a $6 billion campaign.
Jeez.
And it wasn't that difficult.
So you're speaking to the fact you're speaking exactly to basically just the financial issues that they're going to run into.
Absolutely. I think what we fundraise for will change, right? I think as time goes, it'll be less. I think it'll be more like, do we need this brick and mortar? Questions, right?
Right.
Because we're a land grant university, so like we're starting to build a new biology building, which we do need. We've got $150 million towards that's already guaranteed, right? Through the state and through the university, just accounting, right? Just different tagged funds that are like, all right, well, improvement. And we're like, okay, we need a new biology building. And then we'll do private for about 35 to 40 million, depending on what the architecture plans look like. However, in the future, right? So there's a couple of things that play into it, especially biology and the sciences. One, America does a really bad job of creating PhD students who are American, because we can go get them from this is what the whole thing, like you saw that like Trump tried to ban international students.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a twofold issue. One, it's actually a government national security issue in a lot of places because of what they're working on. So if you're like biology, chemistry, whatever, you're a grad student, you're PhD, but you're probably working on a project that's like with Lockheed Martin or with, especially in the South. And if we're like more of a military school, you're probably working on some sort of military projects. Or if you're on the East Coast, you're like NYU, whatever, you're probably working on infectious disease, right? For biology and some other things that are like, we don't really want China knowing.
Right.
We don't really want to use Chinese PhD students.
Because you don't.
But those are the people who are willing to come and spend the money to pay and be a PhD student.
Well, over there, do they pay, like, do those students over, like, say in China, for example, or those, what is like a PhD degree cost there? You know what I mean? Like, what is it, similar cost?
No, they're paying way more here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It has to be. So it's like, not only is it a security thing, but it's also like we want the income here.
Correct. So when you did that away, we got to redo it. So like I've been in meetings where they talk about how if we're going to build this new biology building, then we should do everything we can to build American PhD students.
Right.
Right. Incentivizing it. Right. Right now, there's an issue of like, it's this American kind of like gradism that happens in higher ed of like, one, there's not enough tracks, right? So there's not enough lines of funding. Two, there's not enough incentive. It's like, well, come be a PhD student, but then there may not be a tenure track position later on.
Yeah, that I fully.
Why would I do it? Yeah. Then why would I do it? And then two, private industry is going to pay you a lot more money
Yeah. No, that's
Right?
just facts. Yeah.
It's facts. So you have to find the right student, and they have to be in it for like the passion / they want to be a professor for the rest of their lives, and that's hard
It's a
when you can
lot
go
more rare here. Yeah.
correct, and you just got to incentivize it. Like this Chinese student, you're like, well, we're going to give you American education, we're going to help you on things. You're paying for it, but we're going to allow you to do these things.
Right.
American student, we're just privileged too high, and
Yeah.
they're like, no, it's truthfully though, it's like, well, and we don't just, there's certain industries where we just don't produce very good students. Math and science is one of those, right?
Yeah.
We can, there's tons of history PhD students from America, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, but it's like particular math, particular science, particular engineering.
No, why is that? I mean, it's like it's historically is like you say, you know, Asian cultures are usually great at those kind of things.
Work harder. That's the thing too. Is
Yeah.
the American lazy when it comes to education.
Yeah.
I can tell you, like when I'm going to open the doors at work at 6 a.m. for an event, there are Asian students there going to go work on stuff, and I've never seen a white student. So I'm just telling you that, like,
no, I know that's just yeah, objectively, like yeah. Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, I know they must just have a bigger emphasis on education over there, but like, we kind of have I don't know, we have like a bullshit emphasis.
Right. I think that cuts off at a level where you're like, okay, like, I mean, we have dumbed down education a lot in America, right?
To make kids feel better, or what?
Everything to like grow enrollments, right? Like because of coronavirus, a lot of universities didn't even want the GRE. So they're just letting you into grad school.
They're just letting you in. That's insane.
Because they want the money.
Yeah.
Right? We're losing money other ways by not having, if students are online, we're losing money because they're not paying the rec fee. They're not paying parking. Right. They're not paying, right. So,
and I mean, and rightfully so, they shouldn't be paying the same amount if they're taking it. Yeah.
No. But dumbing down education has been happening for years, and it's accelerating because of online. I have a master's degree. I never physically stepped foot at the university.
Right. But do you feel like you got the education?
I'm decently smart, but I didn't have to take a test or anything to get in because I was like, hey, I work in higher ed. I know what I'm doing. And they're like, okay, cool. You know what you're doing. Right. Like,
right.
Mine's a little bit different case, but I can tell you right now, like, David, if you want to get a master's degree, I can teach you how to do it for very cheap and very easy.
Yeah. No, I kind of believe it. And like now it's almost like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like those things are all badges of how I can make more money, which I understand that too. But I mean, the point should be to be a master or a expert in whatever field it is that you're going for. That should be the point.
Well, the point should be, I think, education should be difficult.
Oh, right. Well, no, those speak to the same thing because if it's difficult, you become more of a master or an expert in that field.
Like my brother went to West Point and then got an MBA from University of Chicago. He's like, that was hard.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure.
Number 3 MBA school in America.
Right.
It's hard. If you go get an MBA from anywhere in the not top 50, it's not going to be very hard.
No, you didn't know.
It's just not. Right? Yeah. It's just how these programs have grown, right? With the asset of online, you can just make another program. You can find a couple more teachers.
I'm sure, and I'm sure that's what's happening right now with universities, right? They're just trying to be creative and figure out new ways to get some money.
Revenue streams, correct. So that's the thing is I always tell people, like, yeah, I can get you a master's degree, but like, is the money worth it long term, right? You got to do the like forecasting to see if that's money worth it, or like, is there a network? Like, why are you doing it?
Right.
Right.
No, why are you doing it should be a lot of the questions for. I mean, why are you going to a college in general should be a question too, because you know, like, because if you think you're going to eventually want to do some sort of, you know, like tech shit or something like that, or not tech, but like, you know, some mechanic work or something like that, you don't need to go to school and, you know, all those things.
I would say the easiest way to fix it though, in my position, like, I don't know, I'm just David, but, so you make community college free. Okay.
Yeah.
Make it community college have programs that don't need a 4-year degree. Right. And then you make 4-year universities hard and difficult.
Right.
So if you want to go right out of high school, you're going to work for it, right? But if you want to just go to community college and like get those basics out of the way, yes, it'll be easier, but that's fine. And then within those 2 years, you will make a better informed decision at 20 than you will at 18.
Yeah, that I completely agree. And look, I'll speak to that fact is that I don't feel like, I mean, I have a bachelor's degree, 4 years of school. The only reason I really have that, in my opinion, is because I was playing basketball, so that just kept me on track. I don't think it was hard, but I also have a communications degree. Most people I know with a communications degree were like, if you could do it, you could do it. Kind of like I was a journalism major. It was easy. Like if you
I
could
can
do
tell
it.
you, even at the harder universities, you can just do it, right?
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to explain to like, I think if you're talking to like our parents' generation, school was hard,
You think it was
right?
like
A
generally
lot
harder?
more time spent in the library. There's a lot of more time otherwise in the classroom that you had to do pass, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean,
I access every library book from my house,
yeah, right.
and I can push control F and find the paragraph that I need, and just reword it real quick.
That's so
Right?
It's
It's
so
just made it
true.
quicker and faster.
Well,
right?
everything is expedited now. Everything is that.
Correct.
Everything is quick. Like,
Whereas like you had to go to the library and you had to find a book. You had to have a library expert find the book for you. Like these are just hours within your day that were taken away.
that's
now-
so true. Oh yeah.
Now, I mean, I can tell you, like I worked full time while getting a master's in public administration
Yeah, which
up
yeah.
at State University in Texas, and I spent maybe 2 to 4 hours a night working on it, depending if I had a large paper due or anything. But like none of the projects were that hard. I mean, it's just some critical thinking.
I mean, you still
but,
put
like,
some time in though. I mean,
It's
yeah.
still putting in time, and I was working full time. But I'm just saying that like, but also like I know, I mean, not to like be an asshole, but
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
think about education is if you go into a room of 100 people, where do you fit?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not in the bottom, so it's not going to be that difficult for me if you know the system,
Yeah.
right? I'm never going to apply myself fully. I know that, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm just for myself, right? So, and I'm fine with getting it. Like, I mean, my undergrad, I got a 2.6 GPA. Okay, I went to 5 schools for my undergrad.
You went to 5 schools?
Graduated in 4 years. Yeah, I'm good at working the system.
Yeah, you're
Never paid out of tuition,
Yeah.
right? Master's, I got a 3.8 because I kind of cared.
Because you cared. Yeah, you applied
A little
yourself more.
I knew I
Right.
was paying my money. I knew what I was paying for. So that's the thing, though, is like, well, where you
Yeah.
apply yourself, where you apply your money, where you apply your time, where you apply your like effortness, and
Right.
like, because I always tell college students of like, what's your degree plan? Business. Then why the hell do you spend 8 hours a night working on biology?
Right. I mean,
Don't. It's not. It's like, I mean, it's like that. Yeah, Gary V. Right? Like, triple down on what you're good at. Absolutely, triple down on what you're good at.
well,
Like, the
work
things-
smarter, not harder.
Yeah, the things that you're bad at are never going to happen. They're just not. Like, I'm not good at science. It's never going to happen. Marketing, business, I understand that stuff real easily. Yeah, it's fine. It's going to happen. But am I going to get a 4.0? No, I don't care about getting a 4.0. I could, but I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite professors I've ever had in any class was old Vietnam guy. He's like, David, you're the best kind of student and you'll do well in life. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're like an average student, but you don't ask stupid questions, right? You're going to go to work and you're going to work. Maybe you won't be CEO, but you'll be fine. You'll move up because you're enjoyable to be around.
Yeah.
That's 90% of it. Like, are you an asshole? No. Do you go to work and get your shit done? Yes, you will move up.
Oh, I entirely think that. I think that those things position you for just being around for a long time. And then like people are willing to teach you stuff if you're not an asshole, or if you're easy to be around, if you're a good teammate, all those things. That's why I think sports do translate to those kind of things.
Absolutely. And I think some ageism plays into it later in life. So I think I mean, luckily I work for president of university and VPs in the university, and I can talk to these people daily and network.
Yeah.
You know, I've been lucky in my career of, I graduated in 12. In my career, I have been around smart, educated, high up, what's it called? Decision makers.
Yeah.
Right. That I can see and see how they're making decisions and all these things. Right. But if you don't get that at a certain age and you don't get that, I think things are probably going to be harder. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
I've lucked out and had good bosses and good leadership and all these things, but and I've come from a very stable, I've worked in higher ed for 8 years. It's very stable. I'm not going to fired. Right.
Right.
It's very stable kind of thing, but I can understand, but the thing is, depending on what your industry you're in, that's why I always tell, I've been telling some family members, some other students, man, mentors is huge. You got to have mentors. You got to have
having somebody,
16 to just help your life. But even going through, I can text a mentor and just ask him a situation that happens at work. And they'll be like, oh, I've done that. Here's what I did. And it didn't work out well. So then I don't do that thing. Right.
Yeah. No,
Right.
those kind of examples that you're really not going to get from other ways. Yeah.
No, or like, I mean, parents are great. Like, I mean, I think we both are blessed that we have parents we can talk to and they're like good and smart people, but like sometimes they have no clue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you shouldn't ask them, right?
Yeah.
So you should have mentors, you should have people in your industry, and not your industry, right? Always talking about like, I think this is more like a teacher issue, but a lot of teachers, all their friends are teachers.
Oh, I think a lot of teachers, not to, I mean, I, respect the shit out of people who teach, but
Sure.
I mean, there's a fair amount of them who are in the wrong profession. Let's be honest. They don't.
I mean,
But like real teachers matter. Like, if you have a teacher from like grade school or high school that you still remember, that means they had an impact on you. That means like that was a real, like.
I think a lot of their friends are teachers too. So then when they like outside of work, they just complain about teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So that's a good mindset to have, right? Like I want people in all the different industries that can learn in different industries, right?
Yeah.
Like talking to you, I can be like, okay, what's the like entrepreneurship game in Chicago, Milwaukee right now? Like I can get advice on that if I wanted to jump in that career, right? Or like have some like overall thought points in my head, like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. He struggled on this one. I would do it a different way, but cool, whatever.
Yeah.
With teachers, especially in every industry, right? You should have people who are your friends in different industries so that you learn those industries. You learn different things. So if you want to make a jump, it's a calculated jump.
Yeah. Right? Or you have somebody to reach out to too. You have somebody to reach out to.
Or you just get a different opinion. Like I can talk all day to you about like public works and higher ed and stuff, but like I mean, your life is very different than mine. Mine's very structured,
Right. Especially not.
I have got a retirement plan through the state. Like it's just very different, right? That's how I function the best. Myself, like I like structured work. Other people, it's not that way. Like I have friends. I've been told I can do sales, but I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Not knowing that paycheck coming.
Right.
It's hard. It's just hard.
No, but that's a good transition point, kind of, because you mentioned like your retirement plan through the state, and then like me being conversely on the opposite side of not having like a traditional route like that. I saw this video yesterday on Instagram, I think, and it was this dad. He was telling his son, like, you can get whatever you want in the store, but first let me give you this quiz. And he was quizzing him on like credit cards and like what kind of credit cards, unsecured, secured, and all this shit. And this kid must have been like 6, and he was just whipping off the answers, just getting it. And that's because his dad must have drilled it into him. But like that kind of stuff, along with the retirement fund stuff and the like just how to put your money away, like that stuff is the more practical stuff that should be taught. And maybe it is, and maybe I didn't pay attention, but I don't think it is.
No, it's not at all. I mean, or the mindset in our age group was credit cards were bad.
Yeah, I see, like both though, because I get that from like some of the older generation, like my mom has that, and then I had some of the like, no, you're supposed to, you can use them strategically. It's just there's not enough knowledge on it and like how to use it and when you want to build and building your credit.
But I think like the mood around it was like it's bad depending on who you talk to.
Oh, I agree. I do agree with that. Actually, I do agree with that.
But luckily, I mean, my dad has a finance degree. Yes, he worked in ministry, but had a finance degree and taught us real early, hey, these things. And then luckily I have an older brother and he's like, hey, you can work the credit card system to travel the world for free. I'm like,
yeah, you're great at that. Yeah.
Let's figure this out, right? And then it's just reading policy and working the system and understanding credit scores and understanding like how you build these things.
Yeah.
And then like I have been blessed to have been to 21 countries in the last 10 years.
Right.
Very, very cheap pricing.
Yeah, and I want to get into some of those, but like the one thing, like, no, for sure, like you're so right about that, because I didn't even think about it. Like I have a lot of friends I know that like didn't have credit, like your credit isn't really built because you didn't want to have credit cards because you thought that shit was bogus. You're like, I don't want to do that, and then you're just paying rent or something like that, so you never ever build any sort of credit, and then you're 30 years old and you
are not in your name. So then it's like kind of wasted.
Yeah, that happens all the time. That happens all the time. People don't put their phone in their name. They don't put their anything because they're like, whatever it is. But like, you got to start somewhere. Like, you got to keep it. You got to bring it up. Like,
absolutely. I mean, there's just a point where like too. I always ask, like when I ask people like, oh, okay, how do I play this game, right? Because I see it as a game. I have a spreadsheet. I'm like, all right, and how I see it, I mean, you know me pretty well, but like, I love like, can I swear on here?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Fucking over the man, right? Fucking over the man is like a really thing I love to do in general, right? So like, how can you work the system to like benefit yourself?
And we
And
should be doing that because look right now, they're look at
Right.
this where they're proving right now. There's money everywhere. That like
Right. I mean, I work in an industry where I see tons of money, so I'm gonna tell you that like money. I don't want to sound like an asshole saying this, but like money's pretty easy to get these days, right?
If
With
you
the
can
internet
figure-
and other things, like you can find money, right? And maybe that's not long term money, but you
Right.
can find $100.
You're right.
You can
Right.
find
No. Yeah.
200
Right.
find $300, right? So I always ask people like, what's your biggest expense a month you can put on a credit card?
Yeah. That's a good. That's a good.
Right at the minimalist level. What is that? And that's different for everyone, right? I can't pay my rent with credit card.
No, of course I can't either. Well,
And
I guess some places can. I can't.
Some people can, some people can't. You really can't pay a mortgage with credit card. There are ways to do it that are like next level, but
That's not what you want to do though. I don't
I
think.
want to
Right?
start
Like,
with the conversation. So I would say majority of people, it's food,
Yeah.
it's groceries or eating out,
Right.
right? So then go do the research, and I would say understand in your budget, right? Your household budget, what's going on. And you can look at that. I mean, I always tell people like have an idea of how much you spend, right? And luckily, like through credit cards now, they kind of categorize it for you, so you don't really have to do much Excel sheets or anything.
Yeah.
Like go find a credit card that is like 4x points groceries, if that's your
Exactly.
biggest,
Yeah.
right? Quadruple the points, right? And then, so I would say that's a minimal level. And then number two is, well, what's the credit card? And then so for regular folks like me and you will never hit the travel benefits by traveling all the time, right? Unless you like work for a business and you're traveling every day from
Right.
like Boston to LA.
I do have a couple of friends. I have one friend specifically like that who like had to travel so much for work that now can fly for free a lot.
Different.
Yeah.
But all our points are going to be based off spending.
Right.
So it's strategic spending.
Yeah, that's what my friend. I remember specifically like one time I went to a restaurant and I think I paid with we were like splitting the bill and I paid with my debit card and my friend was like, "Yo, why are you using that?" Like, and I was like, "What?" And then like they just drilled it in me, kind of like.
Right. So I always say like, well, look at what the bonus is, right? So I think most households can spend $3,000 in 3 months.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a pretty fair number, right?
I think so.
And don't spend extra money that you weren't going to spend otherwise.
Yeah,
right?
well, that's the thing about credit cards.
The biggest thing is like never spend money on stupid shit that just to hit the point, just to hit the spending max or whatever.
Right.
Right. So how I strategically think about it is like, well, am I going to pay 6 months of car insurance ahead of time plus renter's insurance? I do that in July and January, and that's a $600 bill.
Okay, you do. So I mean, that's a way
Like,
to do it.
you get a
Yeah.
credit card a month before. If I'm going to get a new credit card, I think, okay, well, of that 3,000 spending, 600 of it was done in one day
Right.
for
Yeah.
an expense I was going to pay anyways.
Yeah, you're good at it, but that's discipline though by you to be able to
For
do
sure.
that because like not a lot of people think like that.
But I mean, you can just do it logistically. Like, are you going to go, like, you don't have points now, but you will have points later. Like, do you have to go to a couple weddings? Or can you just get a credit card right before a larger expense, right? Are you redoing your kitchen? Are you around Christmas, right? Are you going to buy $100 to $400 worth of Christmas gifts?
Right.
Yes, a majority of people do.
Of course.
Get a credit card around then, right? So the biggest thing with credit card is pay their bill on time. Never know, right? And if you
Easier
can't
said
make-
than done sometimes.
if you can't make that happen, do not work this.
Wait, do you mean just pay your bill on time, or you mean pay the like pay it off on time every month? What do you mean?
pay it off on time every month?
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. But I mean, the one thing that is, and that obviously is the way to do it because you don't want to end up paying this ridiculous, stupid interest rates. And,
Right.
and usually how they get you to start a new credit card if you've never started is they'll say 6 to 12 to 18 months, no interest or whatever it is.
Right.
And
you can work this with that if you wanted to, but I wouldn't.
yeah, right. Okay.
If you buy a new house, you're buying a new couch, that's where you work that system, right?
Oh yeah. We got our new couch downstairs, and the furniture store we bought from gave us like 60 months no interest, some shit. We're like, what?
And just pay it off over time. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So
Those
there's
are the little
situations.
things you actually do.
Right. There's situations where it works. I know when I graduated college and I was just, starting to just pursue music and I was like, whatever, fuck it. So I didn't have that much money or whatever. I remember like PayPal. PayPal is the company that gets a lot of young people on credit shit because they just like send it there. So they're like 6 months, no credit for anything you spend over 100, right? So like when I had to like go to LA back and forth, stuff like that. So I'd be like, I just buy my flights, do it like that. and then that shit just adds up if you don't pay it off right away. Especially if
Yep.
you don't know, like you can
You
actually
just
look
know about it.
I remember not knowing that 6 months no interest meant that if you got to pay it off in 6 months to get no interest, and then that 7 month you get all the other. I didn't know that. Like you get the accrued interest from the whole time, so that 7th month bill is like a bitch. Like
But yeah, so it's just more just like strategic planning when it comes to just how you spend your money.
right.
Those things. So once you can't do this, so I would say monitor your credit score, right? What I do, because I've done this for a while, is I'll spend the minimum spending. So like, let's say it's $3,000 in 3 months. I do that, and then I actually just cancel the card.
Oh really?
Yeah,
You
if
do?
I'm not gonna use it again. No, if I just wanted the benefits, right? So you got to think about how the benefits are. So if it's Amex, those benefits are through Amex. So you need to transfer those Amex points to something else before canceling the card,
Yeah.
or the points go away.
Yeah, because you don't want to lose the points. I was gonna say, I mean,
Because those are
makes
banks.
sense.
So those are banks that hold those points. But you can
Right.
transfer. So like I had the Amex Platinum for, I think, I flew a lot in 2018. So that's why I got that card, because there were some added benefits like you could stay in, what are they called? At the airport, what are the fancy things you stay in before the flight?
Oh, I don't.
Not resorts, but
Airbnb? No.
like in the
bed and breakfast? Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name for that.
hanging on the water right now, right? So that came with that, and it came with some other benefits that are great when you're traveling a lot, right?
Right.
It's like if you're gonna buy a beer and a meal inside of an airport, that's like $25, or you can go inside this thing and drink as many as you want, and it's free. So
Yeah.
you make your money back, right? So I had that card, and I had like 120,000 Amex points. So
Damn.
luckily, when I was transferring them, they have probably about 8 airlines you can transfer to, and I transferred them to British Airways. But at the time, every 1,000 points you transfer to British Airways, they would give you 2,000.
Oh wow.
I just doubled my points.
Because they just want you to transfer it over. They want you to come over. So
Yeah. So I doubled and then I had a shitload. I still have like 100,000 points on British Airways I haven't used.
man, I gotta start paying attention to this shit
I
more.
just flew to Australia for $100 in taxes and used my British Airways.
That's amazing. Australia. Wait,
So-
when were you in Australia?
I went for Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, that's got to be beautiful, no?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Dallas to Sydney, 17 and a half hour flight direct
17 and a half hour flight.
for $100
Oh my
out of
god.
pocket.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well,
Like,
you know,
on that same flight though, on the same trip, I couldn't find availability on British Airways or American. So British Airways points. So if you book through British Airways, you're probably gonna see American flights on there. It's the same thing, right? Same pointage value.
okay.
I didn't see anything. So then I found better for when I wanted to fly on United. So then I had a bunch of Chase points. So I transferred 40,000 Chase points to United and booked a United flight home. So I paid like $30 on the way.
Yeah, you're really working the system. I like it though. You're really like bouncing around in and out.
I
That's
know what transfers to what, and this is all like there's multiple websites. I'm no expert on it.
of course. Yeah, but you at least have experience with it. You got a lot of experience with it.
For
yeah.
sure. I mean, and I always say like minimalist, like if you are just building your credit, start with one of the credit cards at 0 fee. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah.
So 0
Definitely.
fee, start with like a Capital One, or like I haven't played around with Discover, but that, and then like I think I had my Capital One for about 2 years, and then but with that Capital One, I think I flew to Chicago 6 times on Spirit.
That's
Spirit
I mean,
flights are so damn cheap.
yeah.
Luckily,
That's
my brother
legit.
was there. I just kept close to my brother's house and just jumped on the plane without.
I think a Spirit flight is one of the scariest flights I've ever been on one time.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
No. I've been on Spirit. I've had fine experiences on Spirit, but I'm saying the one time that we had like really bad turbulence, I think was a Spirit flight. I think.
How I always see it is like people laugh at me, but like if I go down in a plane, at least if I'm not in control, like I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Whatever. But then like cruises, like you're not in control, but then like you're just stuck.
oh god.
But you don't go down, right? You're just stuck on this thing.
Yeah, you don't go. Dude, the cruise that got held back when the coronavirus started and all that. That sounded like a horror movie. Just like you're stuck on there. Like,
Well, I've heard multiple horror stories about cruises. That will not go on a cruise.
no, I'm
Just not-
straight. I don't want to. And I also don't want to get that, what do you get when you get like you're like, dizzy all the time or whatever, like you're uneven. I don't remember what it's called. It's like a condition that like a fair amount of people get it.
Like cruise ships don't go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just like stuck with people you don't want to be. Well, it's like if I die in a plane, I die in a plane, whatever.
Right.
I can't do anything about it. It's just crap.
Man.
They're
They're gonna make a movie about that cruise ship. I guarantee they will. They're gonna do something.
For sure. But yeah, I would just say like for most people, like just start slow.
Yeah.
Read up on these websites. There's like a Facebook group, I think, with like about 70,000 active members that are willing to teach you anything you want to do.
Really? That's good knowledge right there. Do you know what that Facebook group is called?
Just say like it's called Award Hacking.
Award hacking?
Yeah, I think 101 is the Facebook page.
I'm gonna look that up. That's good. That's good. That's good.
I always tell people, I get mad at people when they don't do it, but I'm like, you know, what's the most money you're gonna spend in your like adulthood? It's gonna be when you get married.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. That's the stupidest amount of money
your
ever.
honeymoon should be 100% free with points.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, I know somebody who did the no, exactly that. I think they paid for their whole honeymoon because they used it to book the venue or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Spending so much money they would never spend otherwise.
Right.
Right. So that year, like if you're about to buy wedding stuff, I would go get the most premium credit card with the best benefits and the best point value, and then have your honeymoon be sweet.
Right. That's a great point. You know, this does make me think though, which is crazy because it's like now with all this, with everything going on, especially financially for a lot of people are struggling right now. And then they show that stat. First off, I'm sure a lot of people who are lower income probably don't have these credit card situations. You know, they don't have all this or aren't able to, but they're also unable to pay if they had a serious thing go wrong for like anything like $500. There's like 50% of the country can't pay a $500 emergency.
I think it's larger than that. That's like 70%.
That is crazy. And but by the way, that is a reason why you would want to have your credit built up. So even if you don't have a lot of money, if you have a huge emergency, you need to figure out a way to pay for it.
Well, also too, I think one of the biggest things I do, luckily I'm in a spot where I have a decent salary, but I didn't. Higher ed doesn't pay a crazy amount of money. Right. But like you need to make these accounts and have your money go there automatically so you never see it.
Yeah.
Right. I never get like, a couple of weeks ago, I looked at my checking account and I was like, man, that's low. What have I been spending? I spent some money in like July that I wasn't going to spend otherwise. That I forgot I spent. And I was like, oh, dang. So then I looked at a savings account that I haven't looked at in probably a year and a half too. And I was like, shit, this is way more money than I thought I had.
That's
right.
Great, yeah.
So, right. Because you're not thinking about, but also I'm a single guy and I have no kids and I don't have a wife. So there's other expenses that I'm not spending. I live really cheap.
Yeah.
So like, luckily in my scenario right now, I save about 85% of my paycheck.
Yeah.
That's not normal. That's not normal for thousands of people out there, millions of people. I understand that, you know, but it's more of just like, you know, doubling up your money here or there, or what can I write? So, you know,
I was just having this conversation with my wife, actually.
I mean, what you teach you in business school is like, if you save $1 a day between 18 and 65, you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just fact based off the stock market.
Yeah, right. No, I've seen people. Yeah,
but it's hard to do. It's hard to do. It's an easy concept to understand and teach people, but it's hard to do, right?
Right. It's hard to put in practice, right?
It's hard to put in practice. You gotta like sign the right forms. You gotta make the right account. You gotta actually make it happen, or you gotta have your like car not break down. Right.
You don't want to get duped, but now I will say some of these companies, like I know I was looking at my Chase app, and now they have made it somewhat easy for you to say, like, if you want to start an IRA yourself and just plug $25 a month in it, you can do it pretty simply. And you can pick if you want to do moderate, you want to do really risky and go high. Like, you can do those things. They've kind of made it a little more self-explanatory. I actually just realized that the app did that, and I was like, oh, good for them. Like, I didn't know it was all there.
Yeah, they've been doing more and more on savings. I thought it was real interesting, like for the university I work for, we did this like wellness exam, but on the wellness exam, they asked about our retirement. I thought it was real, like, I mean.
Like what you want from your retirement, what do you want to have?
Oh,
like,
what you want from your retirement? Do you understand your retirement well? Like, I thought it was very like, what's the word? Smart for the university to be asking that, because they employ I think there's like 35,000 people in our town that are employed by the university. You know,
Man,
like,
yeah.
like, I mean, if they're like, well, are you understanding in the sense of like, do you understand that like your workplace is doing this for you? Do you understand that like you can put money into these things? Do you understand, or do we need to teach you better? Right?
Right.
Does the employer need to teach you better? And I thought that was amazing that I even had that question, because a lot of places they never ask.
They won't even ask.
A lot
Yeah,
of
that's
training people don't know about. Right? If you're a small company, you probably have no idea. You could have amazing match, but like it could have been described to you really poorly in your first day at work. That was already stressful.
right. Yeah.
Right?
No, exactly. There's
Little
so
things
many other
like-
factors.
Right, absolutely. That's all I always try to explain to people, man. It may just be like a one shitty day where you didn't get the information and you're fucked.
Right.
You know, so go back and read, like whenever that folder at a new job, go back and read the folder. It's really important.
No, for real. For real.
Maybe
And
not, it has nothing, but like go back, read the policies, understand what's going on. Maybe that company matches donations and you're real passionate about something, right? You're going to give $100 a month to this organization you're real passionate about. Now it's 200 and it really helps that organization, right? Like there's just little things that all these companies do.
yeah.
You know, and more companies are understanding that like the younger generation is about impact. So they're changing their HR policies. They're changing these things in the mindset of younger people. So
Yeah, that's important to say. I think it's really important because like for me, I know like, yeah, I ignore like all the jobs I have, you always ignore those packets, even if you get them and shit. But it's important I'll just speak to artists, particularly if you're an actor, if you're a musician, whatever it is, to start doing this shit right away, because like there's no fallback on this. You're not having a 401k from doing this or whatever it may be. And I don't even know how long 401k is going to be the thing, but.
Or like, I mean, I've worked with musicians, but like, I mean, some of like the union stuff that if you're in it, if you're not in it, look at all that paperwork, see how it affects you, see how it doesn't affect you, see what kind of benefit you can get if you get sick. Like if you get significantly sick, there are these other programs, there are these other entities itself that will help musicians, will help actors, will help, you know, so somebody's just filling out the paperwork correctly. But these things do exist.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people, but like if you're going through illness, you're going through cancer and stuff, you don't have the time, or like you're just not informed about all these other things, and you're like stressed out. Plus you got like cancer or something significant. Yeah, you're never gonna find it. So
No,
like
but it's so like I just learned that my mother-in-law, back when I think they worked for General Motors, and long story short, like they were gonna like you had to like retire. They were making people retire basically. And I think she was like 2 years away from the whatever, the X amount of pension you're supposed to get or whatever. So she worked like double shifts for like a year straight or something to get it accrued. And like, that is because they had knowledge of I mean, I would imagine the employer told you, but the employer might not have, because they want to get out of it too. So, I mean, it's just knowing that shit can be like, all right, it's worth working harder for a whole year if it's going to affect the next 20 years of your life.
Right. Like, I mean, luckily I work for a large corporation of like the state of Texas. So like my stuff, there's a large portion of people that have the same as mine. But like there's a website I can go, we have the rule of 80 in Texas. So it's your age plus years of service.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting.
Retire at 80. You can retire. You can retire whatever age you are, but you have to have 80 or 80 or above.
Right. So it's okay. I get what you're saying. I get that. That's pretty interesting. I mean, that's cool that there's a.
But it's luckily that you can. One, it's pretty easy math. Two, I've been working for the state since I was 23, so I think I can retire with full benefits with half. I think right now you retire with full medical, right, for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And then depending on when you retire, that number changes what salary you would get.
Yeah.
Usually they take the average of your last 5 years.
Okay. And that's you. I mean, that should be more significant because that's your last 5 years. You worked your way up to that.
So there are ways to work that system too, right? So then you go get a director's position at the Capitol that pays $450,000 a year, right? You go get a job that pays for the last 4 years, and you work really hard your last 4 years, and then retire at 60. You retire at like 60. Right now, I can retire from the state when I'm 54.
That's good, and that's cool to know. Like, just to have that knowledge. Like,
in my head, I'm always like, all right, 26 more years.
Right. Yeah. That's. I mean, you don't want to be counting down every day. You want to enjoy your life, but. Like,
I mean, I do work in education, so every August, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
You're done.
Man, so speaking of that, so you're in Texas, you're at A&M. Like, this is a big week. This is a big week for a lot. I know, particularly the Big Ten is meeting this morning. I don't know what
they're definitely going to cancel again.
Yeah, I mean, so not even getting into whether or not that's going to happen, because I think it most likely is. I mean, I don't see getting around it, but the impact on the town of where the college is going to be really significant, right? I mean,
And college towns economically are gonna. I think A&M football is about a $3 billion industry in our town.
yeah, I believe it.
But
Man.
that doesn't happen.
I mean,
A
and
lot of
because
hotels already were hit in August because like graduation didn't happen.
yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, of course, because those are huge weekends for every restaurant in town. Yeah,
All the Airbnb holders from Austin will probably, or Austin and Houston will probably sell their homes.
at
some
least
point.
though, at least those are big cities, so they still have other things. Like a lot of these colleges are in
The
small
investors
cities.
live there, and they probably own houses in my town.
Oh, that makes sense.
So right now, I think we're at like 80% in classes,
80%.
whatever, starting. Our first day of school is August 19th.
Okay, and they agreed on that 80%. And then if somebody wants to do,
I think it's what eagle out to. Well, some professors are like, "Hey, we're not coming back.
yeah,
We're going to teach online." But like a lot of kids are like, "We're paying for this experience, right?" So it does make sense that you want to be back. And there's a reason. There's like a whole percentage of people that I think we forget about, and I think Nick Saban talked about this earlier today.
I heard
Being
his quote,
at the
yeah.
university is actually better than their hometown, which is 100% true.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence,
area-
the Clemson quarterback, said that. He said the same thing.
There's scenarios where these kids, I mean, not even a football player, just a regular kid, doesn't want to be at home anymore.
Yeah,
Like their influences, their all those things, right? Factor in abusive parent. Like there's just thousands of variables. They'd rather be in like I wouldn't say the word safe space because I hate that word.
but
like they're in a better environment than they would be otherwise. They're fed better.
And there's no we don't know whether or not that environment compared to their old environment is safer for the virus or not. If we're not talking about sports,
we have a center on campus where you can get tested today for free.
Yeah, right. And exactly. If you have that accessibility and you can prove that, I do think so. Saban and Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback, were talking. I mean, they were saying that about students, but they were talking about football. They were because they want to play football.
Absolutely, they
want to. I do think that isn't. I mean, it's got to be more likely that you can get the virus playing than not playing. So I don't know though. But I mean, if you're on the offensive line and the defensive line, I just can't see how this would be an issue.
I think you can get the virus anywhere at the gas station if you want to.
Dude, you can get exactly. I agree.
I think at this point it's all third party anyways, right? It's third, fourth, fifth party.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. I do agree. I mean, it's complicated. I don't know.
Complicated. And like, if you truthfully look at the numbers, I don't want to be that guy who like gets in trouble for saying this, but if you truthfully look for the numbers, that college age range will be absolutely fine.
Yeah, you would think so. And then I keep saying,
right?
I hate watching.
But like, right, I understand. But like in the scenario of like a university, we're probably going to have 10 to 12 kids die of DUI poisoning.
Yeah.
Here
I mean, if we're going to pick and choose like that, there's always situations like that. I mean, cars are the worst one. The thing I want to know is, look, if we're going to figure out a way I respect anybody I like that sports are trying to figure out unique ways. I mean, why not? Let's figure it out. Let's do what we can. I want to hear a plan as for what is their plan if somebody gets significantly sick. I'm not saying it will happen, but football is a little higher likely. I know you're saying students, but football's a little higher likely because there's some overweight players. There's some of that stuff. You might already have underlying conditions. What are they going to do if something happens?
My prediction is that all classes are back online by second week of October.
So you think they'll start and then it'll come right back?
Absolutely. I think you can't.
It's like baseball.
You just control, right? So like, I know like UT is saying 50% capacity in their stadium. So the people forget is how big these stadiums are. Right?
I've been saying this too. Like if you sit 100,000 people and you go 50%, that's 50,000 people.
Our stadium sits 114.
Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me?
It's still 60.
Exactly.
So, but I think a numerator that no one's talking about is tailgating.
Oh yeah, no, and you are not keeping people away from each other. You're not, no.
And especially like, I mean, we're in the SEC. Like, we're not that far away from other schools. And if you look at like the RV market right now, the RV market is hot.
You were telling me that, yeah.
RVs. They're just gonna be like, Baton Rouge. I'm just gonna drive 4 hours to College Station from Baton Rouge, and I know I'm not gonna get tickets, but I can at least go out and like hang out with buddies and have social. People are tired of me in their houses, right? They're gonna drive to Starkville. We're gonna drive to Tuscaloosa.
No, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and Ryan Russillo was like, look, he made the point, and I think he's absolutely right. He's like, look, if you said tomorrow, fuck it, we're just going to have a game at Alabama or whatever, there would be 100,000 people to show up no matter. They would. It would be 100,000 people to show up.
Right. How do you police tailgating?
I mean, how do you police any? How
I
do you
don't want
police
that
any
to
of this shit?
I don't
Like,
want that. I don't know how you're gonna I mean, that's the thing. Is like, and that's what we've been saying at the university. It's like we can police, and we've moved classes to like inside the football stadium, right?
Oh,
So
really?
social distancing and everything, right?
Yeah.
We're using the biggest spaces that we have. However, how do you control the age group between 18 and 26 in hookup culture?
No.
How do you
It's
control
not possible. It's not
drinking?
happening.
How do you control? These are uncontrollable things. My viewpoint is that, truthfully, I know this is awful, but you make all education at all levels online for 1 year. You cancel all sports. You cancel every extracurricular activity, ban everything for 1 year. And then we go back to normal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know it ruins for kids' lives. I've been trying all this time, but I think it's the fastest and most simplest way. Because if not, you pick and choose, and picking and choose, everyone hates.
No, I agree with you, and I know it's not like you said. It's not the popular opinion. People want to see these sports, but look, these kids aren't being paid to play. I understand they're getting education.
About sports, I mean, the real question is about education,
Yeah.
right? Can we educate the best way we can? By, I think, truthfully, by not making that decision in May, it made teachers real stressed, so they will not do their jobs at the highest performance starting now.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
had 3 months to plan, but you didn't allow them to plan.
Yeah. It's
Some
so
you
true.
did, some you didn't, right? I mean, my sister's a 5th grade teacher, my mom's a 5th grade teacher. The policy was trickling down from everywhere with no real, just been like, hey, we're going to be online. Here's what we're going to do. Plan for it. And then the teachers go,
I mean, that goes for everything. That goes for everything.
right. They can just plan better, right? And I think you get a better education. Because truthfully, I mean, I love sports, but college and high school sports, I mean, Texas high school football, I mean, it's crazy. But
I know, right?
it's about education. It's about education, right?
No.
We live on this earth for like 78 years. 1 year, no sports, it's okay. Like, let's move on. And
I agree. I mean, I agree. I think, yeah, I mean, it sucks, but I don't even think it's really that big of a question. I think you just got to say, look, this is one of those weird, this is going to be etched in memory. It's just going to be a weird year. Like,
my grandma's 90, and we were asking her about polio epidemic, right? And she was saying that when she was 16, she had to move in with like family friends for the year because of polio was a lot in her area.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just sacrifices we got to take. I don't know. I think it sucks. I mean,
and
why have a job still? Truthfully,
yeah.
I'm blessed. I'm not complaining.
No,
but
yeah.
We've got, I think, truthfully, if we made all online school, we could redo some things in the whole education system that made things better for longer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about, first off, this pandemic, while, whatever it may be, no matter however your view on it is, it should give you an opportunity to pivot and rethink about how the way things are. So yeah, I completely agree. And if you have a full year where teachers can plan it out and work it like that, then yeah, maybe they do find like, oh, I shouldn't have even been working on that part. I should have been working on this part, or whatever it is. I should have been focused on this part as opposed to that part. So yeah.
How do you educate, like I have friends who are, she's a elementary band teacher. How do you educate K through like 3rd graders band through Zoom?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel bad for her,
Yeah.
Like if you had 3 months to think about it, maybe you come up with a fantastic, awesome, creative idea.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think you're right.
You didn't know.
I think you're right. I mean, shit, YouTube has educational videos that have been around forever. So I mean,
but maybe it's reinventing the wheel. And I think, or shifting for 1 year, or making these things accessible for other things, right? I mean, I don't know. Like my mom's district, she teaches in South San Antonio. What's not talked about all this education stuff is rural.
Yeah, not as much.
Right? But what are these rural school districts doing?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Just eat.
Well, especially if the town hasn't really been hit by the pandemic yet, so a lot of them don't even believe it. And by the way, I don't even want to hate, because being from Chicago, the 90% of everything comes from Chicago, but the rest of the state is all rural, nothing. So sure. I know there was plenty of towns that didn't get hit. So I actually I can kind of put myself in somebody's shoes and understand why why you wouldn't be scared of it. Or whatever.
I mean, I can give you an example of like a good friend of mine is chief of staff for a Texas rep, but he's saying that like in his area, these ranches are bigger than like Delaware,
That's crazy.
right? So these ranches are bigger than other states.
That's
And
insane.
so you're telling me that the general store should be closed, but big box stores can be open.
Yeah, no, look, there's ironies and things that
Right.
don't make sense.
You're telling me that, like, but also though, if someone does get sick there's no ICU beds in the area.
exactly.
Right? There are no resources like what's not talked about in America. And we have this discussion later. Is like rural health is the thing that's not really talked about. We always talk about like, I can give like, we both grew up in Chicago. I can tell you like all the urban, like to help poverty in Chicago. I can tell you all the programs and stuff. Same issues happen in rural areas, and like it's not like at least if you're like grew up in the Cabrini Green area and you got stabbed, you could go to a hospital.
Yeah, that's right there.
Like, in West Virginia, what do you do when there's no hospitals for 4 hours?
I went to the Lake of the Ozarks for my bachelor party, and I remember we all said, we were like, yo, if we get hurt, we're not getting to a hospital for 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
Like, we're not like
right. So there's some things like that I think I mean, it will always be this way. There'll always be a urban versus rural issue in America that it's not really talked about in the media.
Well, hey there. I hope you are enjoying my fun conversation with my good friend David, who, by the way, has a great name. Am I right? God, I what am I doing? I don't know. Anyways, we're going to get right back to that conversation. I just want to let you know that you can find all of our merch at passionpark.threadless.com. We have a brand new logo. I really like it. I've gotten some good responses from it. I hope you enjoy it. You can get any kind of merch right there. Actually, my good friend just had a kid, and he was about to order his baby a toddler shirt. So we have all sorts of options. I just ordered a face mask as well. I have that. You can get anything on there with our logo, really, and with the old logo as well, and a couple other designs from us. So passionpark.threadless.com to get your merch. And please support. I appreciate all the support. And then when you wear it, that's the best advertising I can possibly get. You wearing some Passion Park gear. That's all I want. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. You know what else is beautiful? This conversation I'm having with my friend David. I'm gonna get back to it. Enjoy.
Wait, so real quick, I know you got to run real quick. Since we were talking about the sports and you're like, college wise, we should probably just cancel them all. I'm on the same page with you. I'm just curious, real quick, what is your stance on the fact that professional sports are happening, and they are getting a lot of the tests? And I know some people in healthcare who are a little offended that they're getting short on tests now, that the hospitals are getting busy again. What is your stance on professional sports? Are you okay with the fact that they started?
I mean, they can try. I just don't know. Do they have a long-term goal?
Well, like the NBA bubble, like they're going to start the playoffs this week and just try to finish it real quick. They don't have any cases in there right now, but they're testing these guys every day.
It up. You have to have the resources to bubble it up. I don't think the NFL season will happen.
I don't think so either. Or they'll push it way back, but I still don't think. No, I don't see how. I just don't see how.
Just the travel is complicated.
Yeah, dude. There's like 100 people.
Logistics. It's not even about the fans. Truthfully, it's really not.
Yeah.
Like even just talking to people I know that work for the athletics department, it's about the travel that makes it really confusing.
Yeah.
This is why the bubble system works.
It does. But it is not that practical for football.
But in Major League Baseball, it doesn't work. It has shown that it doesn't work. They're doing the best they can.
No,
right?
They should have bubbled it up. They should have bubbled
it up, right? You could have done Texas. We've got like 4 stadiums here, Arizona and Florida, right? And you could have figured it out, less travel or something. I don't know.
So you're okay with them trying? I mean, these guys are professionals. It's a $1 billion industry. My argument back to people who were saying that they're taking away tests. My question was, first off, are they taking away tests from the hospital? I feel like they're getting third party through their money.
So they're buying their own stuff.
Yeah, and second of all, we create that appetite anyways. We're trying to watch it. We're trying to do that. The appetite is created by us. I mean,
correct. I mean, it's always these things like. A lot of like sports controversies. It's like, well, if we just stop paying, it wouldn't be a controversy, right?
Yeah, and that's
all 100% consumer based, right?
right.
We created it. It's like when I talk about like when people talk about fake news in America and some other things, I'm like, well, we created 24-hour news that doesn't need to be there.
No, yeah, you absolutely.
It's our fault, right?
Yeah,
don't blame anyone else than the people wanting to consume it.
People who have it on 24 hours.
News, that's not breaking news, right? This is all our fault. We wanted breaking news.
It just keeps going faster. It's so funny because when we were kids, breaking news was breaking news, kind of.
Right, but it had no information, right? It was just like car going real fast, and they're like, "We'll figure it out."
Yeah, but now it's like breaking news for everything, like.
Right, and it's not all breaking news. It's
no,
okay.
Not at all.
Like even in America, yes, is there 24 hours worth of news to show? Maybe. maybe.
I mean,
But
yeah,
like,
but not that affects you or like it. Like, I mean, I understand trying to know things on a grand scale, but like I heard somebody else talking like the fact that we are consuming ourselves with things that you will never deal with on a daily basis really is not healthy.
just show something one time positive. That's all I ask.
Oh man, the only thing I really want from this is for them to be talking about how you build your immune system, how to work out better, how to eat better. They haven't said one thing about that shit. They haven't said-
I think we had this conversation, but I was like, man, coronavirus has shown two things in America. One, we are really unhealthy.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
We get stressed out. We're in traffic too long. All these variables, right? And two, we have really bad relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it showed even more than that, but those two things definitely have been highlighted. I think
the
that
most significant things that you will actually think about, right? And you're home alone. When you're home alone with your wife, and you're like, I don't really want to be home alone with my wife, and you realize, right?
yeah.
No, I'm
yeah.
being truthful. I mean, it's the simplest things. They're like, man, I don't actually. It's like my kids don't actually talk to me.
Yeah, but see, this is why these pauses actually are important. When we would never have gotten a pause like this in life, and people were going through lives that they hated. Like people are so many.
We'll go back to it for sure.
Oh yeah, I think so too. But maybe there'll be some people that do have a sense of full on change.
Absolutely. But I mean, it's just like, well, like, I mean, you can go research some of this stuff, but like when all those people protested in Michigan, it was because the law was like you couldn't paint your own fence. What? You couldn't go to Walmart and buy paint from Walmart, but you could buy groceries.
Yeah, that's weird.
And these guys are like, I'm home right now. I want to paint my fence.
So that was part of the I never heard that.
It was crazy picking and choosing. It was like, you can't mow your lawn. It's like, I own my property.
Well, they made weird laws in Michigan. It was like you couldn't go house to house if you had a family member. You couldn't go house to house. It was weird. Like, yeah.
Right. There's a lot of things where like people are like, no, I work for the Ford plant. Now I'm home, and I don't want to be with my wife. I want to go fishing.
Right.
Think about, like, you live in Wisconsin. Why do people go ice fishing?
Exactly. Get away from your family. But I think more people are getting in touch with nature a little bit during this though.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, for sure. I'm at a state park every weekend.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that like when you have like understand how these mandates affect families and people, like, and there's a whole sector of blue collar jobs, but those people really enjoy the blue collar jobs and they go to those blue collar jobs to get away from their partners.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not even like joking. I'm just being like truthful. Like this is how society.
You're so right. It highlighted bad relationships because it highlights how many people are in shitty marriages that they hate.
Yeah, or just like don't communicate enough with their kids, or learning that like now they're home, like whoever the breadwinner is in the family, mom or dad, they're home. Like, oh wow, you paint, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Like you're like, oh wow, you have this hobby.
Yeah, you're actually doing shit. Like now you learn about like what they're doing on a daily basis.
In American society, we work a lot of hours, right? Like there's some things that like we just don't really take a breather. It's okay to just like. I always tell people like when they're stressed out, like it's like Happy Gilmore, right? You got to find your happy place.
You do. No, that's
a happy place, right?
It's important. I mean, mental health is very important during this because a lot of people are struggling, and understandably so. And I mean, that all of those things, thinking about what you actually enjoy. What do you actually enjoy? Like, what do people actually enjoy? There was a doctor that we listened to yesterday, my wife and I, on a podcast, and he said that one of the biggest epidemics in America is stress. Yeah. And that ties in with food a little bit because those do kind of go hand in hand, like how you eat and how you handle that. But stress specifically, because a lot of stress drives you to eat things, and then that creates more stress, physical stress actually, not even just emotional, it's actual physical stress, which is crazy.
Yeah, or like think about, I mean, it's kind of like a thing to think about, but think about how our fast food restaurants were still open, but your mom and pop store is closed.
Yeah, I know.
And that's not, I mean, even just at the health, I mean, I'm not talking about like conspiracy theories or anything. I'm just saying like based off health and based off like economics.
No, I that's a good point because it's like, look, if we were talking about this disease directly affects obesity and people who are unhealthy, it affects you worse. And we kept every McDonald's and every Burger King open. That is a contradiction. But at the same time, that is also discriminating. That would also be discriminated against poorer communities because that's where they get their food. That's where they can get a $1 cheeseburger. Like,
sure,
it's a complicated situation. But then you're making all these poor people unhealthy too, which is like very shitty. Like,
I mean, this is why like there's government programs to like when you're on food stamps. If you take food stamps like an EBT card,
You
like
can't
a
go to
farmer's
you can't go to
market.
McDonald's, right?
No, but you can take it to a farmer's market and they'll give you double the produce.
Oh, really?
Right.
Oh, that's amazing.
Stuff like that does exist, right?
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know
But,
that.
in Texas it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there is like a huge like. I mean, it's kind of like in the Appalachia area where they get Mountain Dew mouth.
Mountain
That's
Dew,
the
man.
thing.
What
Yeah,
the fuck?
their teeth disintegrate because they drink too much Mountain Dew.
Oh, I don't even like Mountain Dew.
Well, I love Mountain Dew, but I'm not gonna get Mountain Dew much. Diet Mountain Dew is the best drink in the world. But in general, like yeah, just these things that like we don't think about until now. Like when you, I don't know, I sit at a desk all day at work, but like, when you're sitting there in a desk all day at work and you look down, you're like, oh shit, like oh fuck, I'm fat. You know, like you're like, all right, how can I eat healthier? Okay, I go to the grocery store, eat these things. And people say like it's more expensive, maybe not, depending on where you live, what you're like. If you're in the bread bowl, yeah, for sure. But like, I mean, it's like on the Joe Rogan podcast, he was talking about how we changed genetically modified wheat. And this is why now
heirloom wheat is the real shit. Yeah.
Right. So now we have all these like celiac disease shit and like bread's actually not good for you and all these things. I'm like, yeah. When I always tell people like, oh, like an orange and apple in the Bible is very different from an orange and an apple now.
Yeah. No, they even say that. Yeah,
Right.
You're so right. I've been listening to all that shit. It's so fun, but it is funny how our brains are though, because I will get into this for like a couple days straight, and I'm like, yes, and then like I'm eating a pizza at night the next day. I don't know. I mean, it's trying to keep the habits, but then just having the knowledge is just knowing it. Like,
it's just the temptation, I think, truthfully.
yeah. I mean, I can't
Like,
stop.
I can get a McDouble right there and add mac sauce for like $1.20.
I'm actually proud of myself as far as I still occasionally will get fast food, but not really. Like I've really cut a lot of that out. Like,
Yeah, I've tried to, but then I'm really bad at the Tupperware system.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Tupperware system. It's a system, baby.
No, it's so bad.
That's so funny. Well, we're all in a rush constantly.
Prep at night and then bring it to work and like actually remember it. And then you gotta like remember to like bring it home from like the cleaning lady at work is like, clean out the fridge, and you're like, I'm sorry that all my food's in there.
We're all just constantly in a rush for getting things. That's just all of us. It's crazy. That's funny.
That's why I was telling like the happy place thing. Like one of my favorite things to do is like go to Appalachia or just go to somewhere and just like be on top of like kind of like a high view where you can look down kind of.
Yeah.
And just like breathe.
Yeah. No,
breathe.
For sure. Yeah.
Breathe, like not even, I mean, sometimes I have headphones in, but sometimes I just like listen to nature.
Yeah.
I know it's like I know it's like sounds stupid, but like just listen to nature and like not doing anything else, not chew gum, not eat seeds, anything. Just sit there.
You're basically meditating. Yeah.
Yeah, just sit for an hour and realize that like, wow, we have like we live in this fantastic earth.
Yeah.
You know, and we have all these resources. That's awesome. Like it could be a lot shittier. Like, and just realize what the things I have. And like, I mean, I think my perspective on some things is different because I've been in all these other random countries. And I know like here, like, I mean, it's great that we have these other things. Like I always talk about when people are complaining, I'm like, you have Wi-Fi and air conditioning. Shut up.
Yeah.
Right. It'd be a lot worse.
That's
we
the
can
education.
We can work on these other things. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying any country is perfect. We all have pros and cons. Right. Yeah. But just breathe. Just take a minute. I mean, you can do it in nature. If you ever live in Chicago, go on top of your high rise.
Right.
Just look out and go, okay, hey, I'm okay. Right? Yeah. Like all these things will figure themselves out. Life is stressful. As an adult, I feel like you just like, it's all peaks and valleys, right? You're going to have a month where it's all peak. So like, oh man, I got these more shows coming up, whatever, coronavirus. Fuck. Right? You got to pivot. You got to be like, okay.
No, it's balance is so important. And like, I'm glad you said that because that is a thing that a lot of us need to remember during all these stressful times is try to find the good, try to appreciate the good and say those things out loud because that does help.
I mean, we're talking about the relationship thing, but maybe just like make a phone call you've been meaning to make.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Think about in your head, like, is there something that like, I mean, I don't think you should go back to like calling grade school kids you bullied and be like, hey, please like take me off your list.
Right. But like Happy Gilmore right there. Or no, Billy Madison.
But like, I mean, just take a breath and go, hey man, like, I'm okay. Or like, I mean, I've been helping a good friend with like a resume, right? Like he got furloughed. I was like, okay, send me a resume, right? I've got a huge network of people that can look at your resume and like at least look at it and be like, okay. And then ask the right questions, right? So I think sometimes resumes are cool, but like you got to ask, what's the goal, right?
You're so right.
What are you trying to show? So yeah, I just think right now is a good time to like
reach out to people.
it's great that you have this podcast where you can like, pivot, talk about things, right? You can talk things out. I'm more of a like talk kind of out person. Like I have a couple of people that like can just call and we can talk for like 3 hours and I can just talk out a situation or talk about like, okay, is it worth pivoting right now? Or should I save more money and pivot later? Or
Right. It's important for me to remember that though, because
right.
during this time, it was easy for me to kind of, I'm honestly, I'm okay by myself. Like I can isolate a little bit. I mean, since I have music, I can do that. I can work on that stuff. I can, okay. But I'll tell you what, whenever I hop on one of these podcasts or a Zoom call with a friend and I'm talking to a friend, or if I have, like you were saying, a phone call with a friend for like an hour, I do usually feel better after that. I just feel good. Like
Absolutely.
After that.
Or I think you just get like a different perspective. Like I was complaining about something and my buddy was like, me and my wife are both furloughed. Shut up. And I'm like, fair.
There, yeah, right. Fair enough.
I mean, hey, I totally get it. I'm like, how can I help you? Right. Cause I was complaining about some stuff at work. He's like, then he said that. And I was like, okay.
That's fair. But I always, whenever I hear that, that's fair. I always do remember. And I always say this is your shit is your shit. You are entitled to have your shit.
Absolutely. So like he said that and I was like, all right, fair. How can I help you? You know what I mean? I was like, how can I like give service to y'all and help y'all out?
And that usually will make you feel better too, I'm sure.
Sure. But it's about like, well, I think right now with coronavirus, all these things, like how can you use your network to help someone else who's struggling?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, it is like I've been blessed to have this large network, and I work in this field where I know a lot of random educators throughout this, like the U.S. Truthfully, how can I help someone pivot? How can I send them just like my resume or my cover letter and say, hey, copy it?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
no, for sure.
Copy the format, copy the thing. I asked some HR directors, hey, just let them look at it to give you feedback on like, hey, this point you're making makes no sense to someone who's reading it in 10 seconds. Because truthfully, that's all the time they're spending.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
So
that's good stuff right there.
Like, right. That's it's like helpful, right? It's like helping out people. So I think right now it's about those micro conversations and micro relationships really to like help community help per se. I mean, my biggest thing in the world is community, right? If you don't have community, I'm sorry for you. Like you got to have community. If you don't, because it just helps everything later in life when you have like children. Your community is like these people who help bring out this child. Community, and like you get these like just understanding like, okay, where am I at? So I can, this network of community people that can be like, okay, hey, I see like what you're posting on Instagram or whatever. It's just not healthy right now. Okay, fair. You can get different perspectives, or like, truthfully, I ran into a situation recently where like this person posted a photo and I was like, wow, like, so I texted them out of love, called them and said, hey, it looks like you've gained like 60 pounds since the last time I saw you. Maybe not that much, but I was like, I think you should probably go get your like blood taken and see if you have a thyroid problem or something. Cause I know they work out a lot.
Yeah.
They just, and this picture looked a lot, and she was like, the woman messaged me back and said, thank you so much. Like I got the blood test done. There was something wrong.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah.
Ballsy of you to say that.
I saw you 6 months ago, and like how you look 6 months. I mean, I know you hike all the time. They give a dog. You're out there all the time. I sit on a desk all day eating fast food, and you're looking bigger than I am. So you know what I mean? Like
that's a ballsy move from you. I think you must have a good relationship with that.
It's out of love, though, right? I'm like, hey, don't take this offensive at all. I just think maybe you'll get a blood test. That's all, right? I was like, hey, it just doesn't look. Something looks off, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, thank you. Like I did get that because she's a teacher. So she's like, oh, I don't. I was like, well, you have time now and you don't have time later. And she's like, that's fair point.
Yeah.
And she got that done. She's like, oh, thank you so much. Like there was something wrong and I just got to like change my diet a little bit. Thank you. And I was like,
wow, look at you.
Like just little things like that, right? It's just like actually paying attention, actually taking the time to do these things, that you haven't done prior. Like actually going to the doctor when you have the free time, right? I think as adults, we forget to go to the doctor. We forget to go to the dentist.
I've been trying to tell myself that. Like I have insurance. It's not like I don't have insurance, and I just like don't go. Like
you have insurance, you should go.
Like,
right?
Come on, man. Like,
doctor's office sucks. I hate the doctor's office. I hate the dentist because they always tell you about like, oh, you look fine, but like you need to work on this. I'm like, you need to work on this.
Right. Now it's important though, especially as we get a little older. I was thinking about that recently. I should just go to see if I'm all right. See if everything's good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's certain just like it's just you just got to do right. You got to like. I mean, my biggest complaints in the world are like when your tire get a flat tire. I know this is saying it's like a weird view, but like flat tire and having to buy socks and underwear. It's like my three things that are the most annoying to me.
I gotta go buy some more underwear right now, actually.
Because they should just work for the life. They should buy 6, and they should just be like work for the life.
Forever. Actually, the socks are my bigger issue. I get holes in all my socks.
Where the socks go? I can't find my sock.
God, that's the worst. You always lose one when you do laundry.
If someone just like, if my like significant other or like my mom bought me like for Christmas like a pair, I think of socks and boxers, I'll be like, I'm a happy person.
Yeah, I know.
All these little things I can buy myself, right? Through those luxury items. It's like the little things that get me every time. It's like, why am I at Walmart buying like socks?
It's so true. It's so true. That's hilarious. Oh man, well that was great. I feel like we could just keep. That's how these go. These are just get down a rabbit hole, just keep going. That was good though. I feel like there was some good finance stuff and just all that stuff. So
Sure.
we're gonna do this again, right?
Yeah, awesome.
Do you have to go back to work right now? You got to do some more work.
I mean, I'm gonna do some little bit of work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you staying on longer. I know you said you had to go at once, so I mean, you kept going a little bit. So I hope that's all good.
My boss is sick today, so I'm gonna get many emails.
Wait. All right. Well, that's good. Well, perfect, man. I really appreciate it. Let's talk again soon. Whenever you're ready. I want to talk about your feelings on the Astros since you're living in Texas. And then just some of the travel stuff. I really do want to see, like, just hear about some of the places you've been, because that's, I'm sure.
Sure, man.
So yeah, let's do that. Let's do that soon. Appreciate you, man. I don't know. You got anything else you want to add?
Always good to see you. Glad you're doing well.
Yeah, man. You too, man. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate a lot of the things you said, like about like reaching out to people. I think you gave really good advice. Like, you reach out to somebody or do something like that. It's that's good. And you reached out to me last week when you called me, and I was glad that we talked. Like,
well, I think I think you forget how blessed you are yourself.
easy
Right.
to
So,
forget. Yeah.
right. So like, I mean, we could go on this for a long time, but like, I was blessed to have parents who really, really care. And I was blessed to have really good, like, education to, like, now as an adult, I'm pretty stable and I can offer good advice, I think, for scenarios, right? Like, I mean, we all go through shit, right? I'm not saying that like, I'm not depressed at some points. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. But like, I think, life has allowed me to offer different realms I have knowledge in to help other people. And that's, I mean, that's great. And like, hopefully help someone just with their lives. I mean, how I see it minimally is like, if you can just like take your wife to like Las Vegas or like Hawaii for free, that's awesome. Right. Like,
Right.
if you just need vacation and you don't have the cash for it. Right.
Right. Nah, for real. See, those are gems. Those are gems right there, man. I'm gonna start tricking my points and all that stuff too. So I'm about to go look up this award hacking group too.
Yeah, man. I'll let you in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta admit.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, and we're gonna talk again soon. You're gonna be back on here.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Yeah, see you.
All right, man.
Alrighty. Thank you for tuning into another episode of The David Lopez Show, presented by Passion Park Entertainment. I truly appreciate it. And thank you to David for coming on the show. That meant a lot. He will be back on. I'm hoping we do some recurring things. As I mentioned before, I want to have like a friends of the show kind of cast and crew type situation where they can come on every week, whatever it is, talk about some random stuff, and we can just have good conversations and get different perspectives from other people. Like I said, I'm trying to listen to your guys' feedback and make the show better so we can continue to do this and you guys can continue to enjoy it. I hope you all find a way to enjoy yourself during this time. I hope you can all stay safe and I don't know, do something fun, smile, laugh, watch some hoops. I don't know, make some music, do some shit like that. I feel like I just said all things that I personally am gonna do, but you know what? I'm sharing them with you too. You should do it. Just have fun. I don't know. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm gonna be back again this week with another episode. Likely be mostly NBA stuff because I got some of my homies that I want to talk to about some stuff. Plus the playoffs start next week. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. But once again, thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.